Hi everyone, it's Louie Simmons here, Westside Barbell with Dave Jenkinson. This is our newest member, and we're glad he's here. And I'm just going to ask him some questions, you know, for everyone to know what's about a Westside and a new member. You know, I look at Westside as this year went by, because here it is, nearly the year's over, and we set 6 all-time world records. And I actually felt a little disappointed. I felt we could have broke more world records this year. In particular, Dave Hall during the year squatted 1270, and was passed, and then 2 days later was taken away. The president of the federation seemed to think he beat the rack command, even though the head referee told me he did not. But that's in the past, and Dave will come back and break that record and do even more. But right now, let's talk to Dave here. Dave, where are you from originally?
Originally, I'm from southeast in England, and for the past 2 years, I've been in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania.
Well, and back when you were in England, what was the lifting culture there? How was it?
Oh, dude, they're gonna hate me. There is big fish, small pond syndrome.
No.
There's some really good lifters and some good guys, but in the gym I currently train at in Pennsylvania, there's like more 500-pound raw benches than there are actively in the UK. So they're good people back in England, but big fish, small pond syndrome. Mm-hmm. My teammates in Gravesend, the gym I trained at, they're really good. They're like supportive, and you know, I keep in contact with them almost daily. So they're a really good group of guys, but just a bit more exposure to heavier lifting might bring a few people back down a peg. Because I was a victim of that myself, Lou. At one point I had the highest raw total in UK ever, regardless of any body weight. It was 940 kilo. I set that back in 2015 in Vegas, and I thought my dick was this big. And that was 10 full time. And coming to America has really brought me down a peg and humbled me. And it's probably made me a better lifter for realising that. Mm-hmm.
Well, I know we saw you at a couple of meets. You hadn't got into gear yet. Then we saw you at a gear meet. We helped you a little bit. So what made you, I know you saw some of our lifters in that meet, but what made you come to Westside? When did you decide to start training here at Westside? I know you'll be here full time in January.
Yeah. I think a better question is, why wouldn't I want to come to Westside? Oh. You know, it's good training, second to none training partners, but I think the biggest benefit of coming to Westside is probably yourself and your experience, Lou. Most gyms have a monolith, so you don't come to Westside necessarily for the equipment. You come for like the X Factor, you come for yourself, you come for the knowledge. So yeah, I've just come to really learn, and I think that's my biggest benefit of being here at Westside. Isn't what I do in between the hour and a half that I'm training. It's the conversations I have with the teammates and yourself, Lou, that's really been the biggest benefit.
Well, you know, it's really ironic, because when I had A.J. Roberts here, now he originally came from England, and A.J. was my connection to Earth, because, you know, I got older, got hurt, couldn't compete, and I couldn't get anyone to pay attention to me. And then so A.J. would argue with me to find out I was correct, and he made tremendous progress. Best lift is 29:30. Set 3 world total records before he left. But when he left, as everyone here knows, Tom Barry and everyone, there was a big void in our training. I could not convince people that they should be doing these things, even though it's time proven. And then you show up, you know, from over in England, and come here, and I convince you these things work. You're starting to get real strong, and now they jumped on your bandwagon. And I've always said, there's one thing I learned about psychology. It doesn't matter how I get through to them, as long as it gets through to them. I don't need you know, it needs credit as long as it gets in there, and the gym gets stronger. So, how, you know, what's your best list right now currently, and where do you rank all time in the world, the 242s?
So my best squat is 1060, my best bench is 740, and then my best deadlift is 890. I did have the second all-time highest total for about 50 days into the WPO. Now I'm third all-time, and it's more like a consolation prize, but I actually have the highest 242 multiply deadlift in history. No one's done any more in multiply. Now 4 guys have done more raw, but still.
Yeah, well, I've never seen much of actually, Garrett helps a whole lot in the deadlift. All the other lifts I've seen it, but years ago, I mean 30, 40 years ago, there was big-time deadlifters, you know, and they're just finally catching up with them. Well, you said, I remember when you came here, your best deadlift was 830, you said. Well, then it moved to 890. So how did you do that?
Sounds a bit cliche, but I shut my mouth and opened up my ears. So I came with an open mind. First thing first was learn how to box squat correctly. I'm still learning that now. But releasing the hips really helped build my hips up because I haven't got the strongest of hips, and I think that was really lacking in my deadlift because I try to engage my hips. They weren't there. Then I bend over and I try and heave it in my back. So learning how to box squat was a huge one. Bringing up my lower back strength because I neglected conventional for far too long. So you told me to incorporate more conventional work and do the back attack, and that's been second to none to build up my back. And you also put a lot of emphasis increasing my glute and hamstring volume. So assistance-wise, that's all I've done. I've just increased the volume. I worked hard on my inverse curl and the back attack, and they've been really benefiting and learning how to box squat properly. But then I ran your deficit program. We're probably going to talk about in a minute for 8 weeks, and that really blew up my deadlift.
I also noticed on Max Effort Day, you do a second workout on Max Effort Day.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much another Max Effort workout.
Pretty much.
Now, we had a bench presser do that, and Bell, and he did quite success. I mean, he really went from a 335 raw bench to actually 600. In a meaty pulse, 575 easy, got way stronger. His shirt bench was 850, and he did 900 strong, and then he retired. And so he never went back and to get an official 600 raw in a contest. But it really went up by doing a second max effort workout. Yeah. After all, the Bulgarians did it. They did it 6 days a week. So, okay, so tell us a little bit about this program. I know here everybody at Westside knows we rotate every 3 weeks, 3-week pendulum wave. So give us an idea what you did and what part of it was the most effective.
So yeah, I ran 3-week waves. The first 6 weeks were on a 4-inch deficit. The first 3 weeks were really conventional, beltless, 4-inch deficit, 5x5. And that really built up my lower back. That's actually something else that has really improved my deadlift, was matching my amount of lifts on my deadlift as I did my squat. Because instead of doing like 10 singles or 12 singles or any of that crap, we actually went and did 5x5. So now I was doing 25 lifts and matching my 5x5 and my squat. So that really helped, just jacking up my deadlift volume from the beginning. But I did 3 weeks of conventional, just adding 50 pounds each week. That really helped build up my lower back, beltless. And then the second 3-week wave, we moved to sumo. I kept my briefs on just for a little bit of hip protection, but I still had the belt off. Again, 5x5 and built up, adding 50 pounds a week. And actually my best on that was 650 for 5 reps at a 4-inch deficit.
Yeah. Perfect form.
Yeah, they're really good. The first wave was really good at building my lower back strength. The second wave was really good at getting my positioning right. So bringing up my torso, especially the 4-inch deficit. Because if I was over it all, too much on my lower back, and it'd be a really hard exercise. So that really helped my positioning. But actually, the last 2 weeks with the cambered bar, I don't even know what you call that, bench cambered bar deficit.
10-inch box, stand on a 10-inch box with a 5-inch camber. Your hands are 4 inches lower than the ground.
Yeah, when you first suggested that, I was like, that's a wacky movement. That's going to be like, that's fucking stupid. But actually, the real value in that is the timing of my muscles. So to do that lift effectively, you really press down with your legs at the beginning. And as the bar starts rising, you actually feel it travel through your legs, through your glutes and in your lower back. And that was really good for my timing on my normal sumo. So when I go to my sumo, that's exactly like the phases that goes through my body. I break with my legs, it travels through my glutes, and I finish with my lower back. So that the real value in that was the timing of my muscles firing. That was much more value than I first thought.
A lot of people don't realize, but when you deadlift, your feet had to be forced forward. Yeah. That's what makes the bar come backwards. Yeah. And that's one thing that box does. I know Tom Barry's had a lot of success with that 5-inch camber bar with his athletes. And I mean, he's got some phenomenal athletes. I can't mention maybe too many publicly, but he's got the second ranked national wrestler at 160, a high schooler here in town. Yeah. So he's got a lot of guys, a lot of professional golfers, and all, he gets all types. So it's basically the same thing. All right, well, that's good to know about that. So really, you come to Westside. Yeah. What is your goal? Because here there is only one goal. What's your goal?
Yeah, the total.
The total. Break the total record, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that's a quantified goal, is, to break the total. But really the actual goal is just fulfill my potential, whether that's 2750, whether that's 2810, or whether it's actually 2900. Your goal really is to fulfill your potential and take steps towards it every day. So quantified, yeah, I want to break the total, but really it's fulfill my potential, and that's in those four walls. And outside of the four walls is to learn as much as I can to carry on to my career and apply it to the high school strength coaching.
And I know, you were kind of lack on training partners a bit before, but now you've got training partners up. How do they help you in training? I noticed actually now Josh Conley has jumped in and started training with you. Josh just did a 1,000 and a 780 and an 870 deadlift, just missed 905. So how's that working out? I mean, what's the benefit of that?
Well, Josh has been here for a long time, so he's seen a lot. So a lot of the experience that these guys have had has been really helpful. And so a lot of mistakes have already been made, so having that experience there stops me making those mistakes. Now, that's a huge one. And the other one is having like very different shapes and sizes. People have different strengths. So Josh is a 900 puller, or a little bit over. I'm sub 9. So if I can match Josh on my deadlift exercises or assistant exercises, then I know I'm going to pull over 9. Same with Josh, he's a 785 bencher, so if I can keep up with Josh or beat Josh in those given exercises, then I should be a 785 bencher. It's just using your training partners as A, a resource for experience, but B, as ballpark figures. Like, no one person in there should be stronger than me at anything. That's not acceptable. So Josh, he deadlifts a lot with his back. Fine, I don't, but I'm still one of a stronger back than you.
Yeah. That's very profound that you've already figured out it's the spatial exercises you catch Josh in the main exercises.
Yeah,
too many people want to try to catch, you go from an 8 to 900 squat, they train too heavy, bar slows down, force of development slows down, they fail. But to actually get to where you want is exactly what you're doing, keeping with Josh and all the spatial exercise. I know you do a lot at our ATP, our spatial belt squat. Can you, you do two different things. I know there's the regular supports and the deadlift. Can you just mention those, please?
Yeah, so on my dynamic day, I do my speed squats and my speed deadlift, and then I go to my normal systems, which is kind of like back attack and hamstrings. And then in the evening, I come in and I do more of a max effort session on the ATP. I like using the ATP for a secondary max effort session because I feel I can strain and exert maximum force, but I recover a lot faster. There's a lot less stress on my lower back. It loads my body just more friendly, I guess. So, rack pull, Zercher harness. And it's about like 50-50 straight weights. So I might have only 500 pounds in my hands. Well, that's not particularly taxing on my lower back, but then I have another 500 in the belt squat. All of a sudden, my hips and legs are doing 1,000 pounds. And now I'm really building up. And it just allows me to exert maximum force with really fast recovery.
Paul Anderson would do hip lift every day. I think the safe was 3,400 pounds. And then, but one thing about it, just like Paul might not have realized it, but we figured it out, that while you're in the ATP, you're actually doing traction. That belt around your waist is tractioning out your spine as well as reverse hypers. I know you're doing a lot of reverse hypers with a strap trying to build up your glutes. Yeah, and that's, the good thing, I like to see real strong people with some muscle group deficiencies. Because if you got deficiency, that means the sky's the limit when you bring that up.
It's when you run out weaknesses, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So it's good to have weaknesses.
We were just talking about Perlipin's chart before we came in the room, and how when you exceed the maximum amount of lifts, then the force starts, of course, velocity goes down, but force goes up. And so we pay a close attention to following that chart as far on speed day. And all this is very important, just maintaining volume and intensities, finding your weaknesses, and the sky's the limit for everybody out there listening. Hey, I want to thank you very much, and we'll see you next time at Westside.